I pray that the Lord puts somebody in my way each day. I said, put somebody in my way today that needs my help. He lifts me up right then. I'm thinking now, well, he's going to do it. Who's it going to be today? Where am I going to do it today?
Welcome to Open Seat, the podcast where we create a space for authentic conversations about faith, unfiltered and unapologetic. Here, we believe that every story matters. Whether you're questioning, seeking, or steadfast in your beliefs, you'll find something relatable in these heartfelt discussions. So grab your seat, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's story here at Open Seat. So today on the podcast, we have the very humble Kenneth Aloysius Montgomery Gonzalez Freshcorn. Yeah. We're so blessed to have you today, Ken.
I can't even tell you how it feels to be here. This morning, last night, I was scared. I kept saying, why are you scared? God's with you every minute. He's taking care of you all this time, and he showed you all these things. I'm good. I'm ready to go.
You're also one of my greatest partners in crime. But we'll get to that later. Why don't you tell me a little bit about young Ken? Because I hear there are some really good stories about young Ken.
Well, we don't want to get into too many of them, but I am the youngest of 10. By the time I come along, my folks had a little more money, and I was the spoiled one. I was a spoiled brat. I remember many times my sister saying, now, Kenneth, we thought we was going to have to kill you before you was 18. She said, you just wouldn't listen to nothing. And even though I got it from all their boyfriends, my mouth. But I want to say a good life. I had food, clothing, a roof over my head, everything. I lived 2 blocks from grade school, 2 blocks from the high school. That's good.
What were your hobbies when you were growing up?
I probably shouldn't have, but I was on the roller skating team and the speed team at the Skate-Adium. And if my mom and dad were working or whatever, at 13 or 14, 15, I was hitchhiking to Adrian.
Okay. Because you grew up where?
In Tecumseh.
Oh, Tecumseh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I really didn't play any sports and that. I was too busy showing off, doing motorcycle stuff and stuff that I shouldn't be doing.
You should have been like a peacock or a deer because you were trying to show off in front of the ladies. Is that what you're saying?
They liked it.
All right. So after you graduated high school, what did Ken get into?
It was 368 days. And my lotto number would have been drawn for the military. And they called it off, the draft. They called it off. And I ended up finding a young lady that I took a fancy to. And the next thing I know, I was married. And had 3 great sons. They're all not been in trouble. They're all doing great, more than I saw. That only lasted about 5 years. And unfortunately, she's passed away now anyway, but we don't say too much. But my boys, like I say, are when they call me, they don't ask me for money or anything like that. But every once in a while, they'll call me and ask me for some advice. Or how would you go about that? And that really, it just pushes my chest up and I pump myself up, say, yeah, they still need the old man. But they're good kids. My grandkids are just awesome. And
so you have how many children?
I have 3 boys. Well, 4 boys.
So one of your sons most recently had a pretty big health scare, right?
Yes.
And how did you get through that time with him?
Again, they don't ask for nothing. And he didn't call me and tell me. It was actually his wife called me and told me that you need to get with your son. Mm-hmm. And so I did, and we talked, and he said, well, Dad, I got to have a liver transplant. Mm. And I freaked, of course, and never had anybody in the family have something like that. So I really didn't know, but it was my son, and he lives in Detroit. Mm-hmm. I went down there every day. I went to the hospital for, 3 weeks every day, drove to Detroit, which is, I think I'd rather take a punch in the eye than drive in Detroit.
No offense to anyone listening from Detroit.
Hey, no, their guys are good down there. Just everybody knows where they're going except me. It was amazing to see him. I don't know if amazing is the word I want to use. He had a lot of tubes in him and stuff like that. And when I seen him laying there, and I stayed there, and he was 50-some years old. And for him to look up at me, and it was just me and him, and he would look up at me and smile. And then, of course, go back to sleep. But he knew I was there. I would pray that he was going to be all right. And today, he's at this point, I think it's been 3 years now or 2, I'm not sure, that he's up doing, it worked.
So you have 4 boys.
Yes, ma'am.
And any live around here?
I have one that lives in Madison, right by Madison High School. I'm bragging. I never brag. Grandson graduated Michigan, go blue. Granddaughter graduated Toledo Nursing School. Sorry, I can't think of the name of it. Lawrence, but it was an awesome school. She's a big-time nurse now, and they're doing great. They don't have time for Gramps anymore, but it's good.
And you have one more grandchild? You want to tell us a little bit about Miguel?
He's like 6'1", 6'2", and he's about 220, and he's only 16.
And he has cramps wrapped right around his leg.
And he's just got his just getting his permit now and that. And he was having a hard time remembering my telephone number. But, it's amazing that he's remembered it every other day for a month or so. But we're talking about his dad has a construction business, and he wanted a car. Now it seems that he wants a 4-wheel drive truck. So I got his sister one, so he's thinking I owe him one too. So.
Oh, he found your phone number, huh?
Yeah, he's called me last night, as a matter of fact. Hey, Gramps, what's up?
All right, so with your first wife, you have 3 boys.
Yes, ma'am.
And that lasted 5 years. Then what happened to Ken Freshcorn?
Well, I started at Boysville of Michigan. It's a juvenile institution, and you had to have a degree to work there. I did not have one, but I had a horse farm, and so I took care of the horses out there and that. But if you can take 12 kids from the inner city and teach them they have to clean the horses' hooves before they get on, and teach them how to ride. The brothers out there said, "We need you on that side." And I said, and they said, "We need you on the other side because you can work with the kids." Well, I was out one night, and a lady walked in, and she had a smile that was just amazing. Next thing you know, 2 years later, we were married, and a year later we had a son named Raul. And I don't know, I'm a guy that when I start a job, I can't stop until I'm done. Sometimes I'm too tired to finish. And my son's the same way. He works 12, 14 hours a day, and he's really doing good. He'll send me something and say, Dad, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know how to do this. He does stuff that I have no idea what he's even doing. But he said that I got him started, and we had a pool. We was putting a deck around a pool, and I got a picture of him when he was like 5, 6, and he had a little tool belt, the hammer, and that. So he started.
And you worked at Boysville for how long?
18 years.
18 years. And then where did you start working?
At the church here. I started at Boysville in 1975, and I left in 92. I got baptized when I was 12. I didn't know what was going on, really. I was antsy and wanted to get out of there and this and that, so I really didn't know. And
were you baptized Catholic?
No, I was baptized Methodist.
Okay.
But I didn't really know what was going on. And so I didn't go to church. I was for sure late teens and this and that. I was running. And when I started at Boysville, we had to go to church every Saturday night with the boys. We took the boys to church. I still didn't get it. I heard it. The brothers would talk to me, and they would say things to me like I knew I shouldn't have said. So, but it was at Boysville and I met some other guys that worked there that we would run every day at lunchtime. And they would, I'm not sure that's what God wants you to say, or that's what you're doing. What? And that went on. And then, like I said, I met my second wife, and she was Catholic. And we went to classes at St. Joe's. And Margaret Noe was my teacher.
Okay.
And taught me some things. It was really good. It was a joy. And actually, when I would leave it, I would always be happy. I was, I know it's God, but Margaret was pretty funny too. We had a good time. But,
Yes, she is pretty funny.
got married in 78, and that lasted 20 years, I think. And just her working, I was working 2 jobs because we had a horse farm, and I was just doing that, and we just grew apart. To this day. I love her. She knows that she's not doing real well in health-wise, but she's being taken care of. I don't know, it was after that, it wasn't too long. After that, I fell into a brown bottle,
Oh.
and that was not good. It took me about 15 years or so to get out of that. And I got out of that by the help of a great gentleman downtown at the courthouse. I got 2 DUIs in 1 week.
That's impressive.
Well, he didn't think it was. And the thing is one I was, the second one I wasn't, but they see me leaving, and I did hear a beer in my breath, and I wasn't in very long. But I went to court, and Mr. Sheraton told me, Ken, I'm not going to fine you. Ken, I'm not going to put you in jail. But he says, Ken, if you come before me again, I promise you, you'll spend a year. Never smoked another cigarette, never drank another beer. It was 25 years. And just lately or whatever, me and my wife down had tacos the other night, and I had a beer. A couple days later, me and my wife was out to eat, and I had another one. So it's far and in between. I think I can handle it, but you never know. When you're an alcoholic, you never know. And I don't do it without my wife with me. I don't.
So you fell into the brown bottle. Then what happens?
I've been hit. He's whacked me a couple of times.
Meaning God.
Yes. He's whacked me and showed me my ways. But as I was sitting there waiting to get sentenced, I said a prayer. I looked up and I just closed my eyes and said a prayer and asked him to do the right thing, or let me handle whatever happens. Just let me handle it. And lo and behold, nothing happened really, other than, I got a promise that it would happen. And I walked home and they did take my license away, yeah, for a minute. I knew something had happened right there, and I still, again, I didn't know what happened. And it went on, I don't know how many years, and I worked at St. Joe's. I come to Catholic Church, St. Joe's, in 1992, and Father Williams hired me. I can tell you some jokes he told me, but I won't. Father Jim, Father Dave, Father Mike, there was just a plethora of them. And I had some friends that were good people in town here, and they went to Bethany, Assembly of God. And they said, hey, why don't you come and go with us? And I said, yeah. But I did. And as we're sitting there, it was a good sermon. Towards the end, the pastor looked up and he says, is there anybody here that wants to give their soul to God? And I'm thinking, for like 2 seconds, I'm thinking, what do I do? All of a sudden, and this is, I still to this day, well, I know, Holy Spirit got in my heart. I got up and I couldn't stop my feet. My feet kept walking and my body was going one way. My feet was going another. Took me down front. They prayed on me. We got out and the people I was with said, hey, we're going to breakfast. You want to go? And I says, no, I got to figure out what just happened, because I had no idea what had just went through my body. And I went down to the golf course, Woodlawn, right down the street to where I golfed at. And I went down there and cried like a baby because I literally couldn't figure out why I couldn't stop my feet. Why? Because I don't get up in front of people like that. Went and talked to that pastor a week later, a few days later, whatever it was, and he laughed. He got you. And it was at that time, just things started turning around. I retired from St. Joe's, and I worked at the soup kitchen for 10 years.
The daily bread.
The daily bread. I got to say prayer every day for the people, and that sometimes they would say it or not, but it amazed me. People would come up and ask me to pray for them. They would come to the back room and ask me to touch them and pray for them, and I'm saying, I'm not a pastor. I'm not. And they said, you got something. Mm-hmm. To this day, they're still, I don't know, whatever it's been, 20 years or whatever, that I still run into them. They still come to my house and they still ask me, they'll ask me for money or something. And I used to give it to them. And now I say, no, wash my car inside and out. Mm-hmm. Mow my grass.
And you'll give them money then for time.
Oh yeah. Then I give money, and if I need help, I call them.
I'm so glad that you talk about this part, because one of the things that I think you do better than anybody else I've ever encountered is you see people for who they are. If anyone ever has the privilege of riding with you in that identifiable truck of yours, then they will know that you are flagging down somebody who, quite honestly, usually is a homeless person or unhoused person, and you have a conversation with them like you're old friends from 40 years ago, and you two never forget each other.
Some I know, some I don't.
But it doesn't matter, because you will have a conversation with them like you know them for 20 years. And I am myself, I know, guilty of driving by people and not even waving at them. And here you are rolling down the window, and if you got some food in your truck, God help them, because they're about to eat it. And it's just like, hey, brother, how are you? I ain't seen you in a while. What's going on? It is one of the most moving experiences to ride, although because you almost die, too, when you ride with Ken Freshcorn, in a vehicle with Ken Freshcorn, because you take your life in your hands when you enter. But also, you're going to probably encounter somebody that he either knows or doesn't know, but will be his friend by the end of that.
It is. And that's one of the things that God has given me is, I say I'm shy and bashful, and I always say, oh, that older lady needed help or getting a cart or something in there. And I think older later, I said, man, I'm 75. I don't know how much older she was than me. I don't think she was. But I'm working on my grandson. I embarrass him because a lady didn't have a cart. There wasn't no carts at Walmart. And I went out and got her one. He said, Grandpa, you didn't even know her. Why? And I told him, grandson, which my dad had told me, I had told my son, now I'm telling my grandson, but you always help no matter what.
And you do that. I will get a phone call from someone. They need something, or somebody needs help with something. Or most recently, we were working with someone from Venezuela, and the weather's getting cold. And so your question immediately is, well, what size jacket do you think that they need? And it didn't stop at a jacket. It went to hat and gloves, and it went to a sweatshirt and sweatpants. It was amazing. And all because you just saw a need and filled it. And that's how you live your life. You see a need and you fill it. Now, can you tell everybody what you pray every morning when you wake up?
I'm going to get sad here in a minute. Every morning, my wife and I wake up. And maybe this is not the right time. Maybe it's the right, I don't know. But before we get out of bed, I have the Bible that's on my phone. Mm-hmm. And we read it every morning. Mm-hmm. I pray that the Lord put somebody in my way each day, or that day. I said, put somebody in my way today that needs my help. Mm-hmm. And he lifts me up right then. I mean, I'm thinking now, well, he's going to do it. Who's it going to be today? What am I going to do it today? But it doesn't matter. Somebody going to Myers or somewhere and they're walking, I'll give them a ride, or take me to breakfast or whatever.
You just have this innate ability to find somebody who needs something and you just fill it. Whatever it is, it can be the smallest act or it can be the biggest act. You've done it all.
I say that it makes me feel good. Hopefully it's making them feel good and better. But it does something. I don't know how to explain that it does something in my chest. It doesn't really sadden me. Evidently it makes me happy because my chest just pumps up, and it's not that I'm bragging. I don't need to brag about it because, I mean, he's already seen it. He's the one that sent me. I also have to, I know she's hitting on me here and that, but Miss Katie will ask me, hey, there's a lady in Blissfield that needs her screen door fixed or something. And I said, well, I can do a lot of things. I don't know, but let's go over there. We ended up going over twice.
Yeah.
Katie is if not more, she's definitely as good, if not more, but she's always helping people. And when she can't get something done, she will come to me, and that's another person. If you need, she's the one that needed help that day, and I'll go help her. We've moved down and how many people now, upstairs, downstairs, whatever. But it's always fun. It makes me happy to laugh.
Yeah.
I know this is just another little something. There's a couple of kids in our church, that altar boy and altar girl, that every Sunday they walk by and they smile at me. And again, I sit right straight up in my seat, and it just makes me feel so good that they recognize an old man, which you should say hi to old people. But them kids, I call them, they're part of me now because I see them and they do,
Yeah. I don't know how many people don't know you. And if they don't know you, they soon will, because you are a friend to everybody you meet.
My wife won't go to the grocery store with me because she says I talk to somebody in every aisle. When you're 75, you get to know people.
So you've talked about your wife a few times. So you want to tell us about her?
I've actually been married 3 times. I was running a Daily Bread, and this lady walked in, and she was volunteering. And I had cooked a meal and this and that. And I looked at her, and I said, wow. What's your name? And that was 12 years ago. I've been with her every day since that day. She is a believer, and I can ask her questions of the Bible, and she'll answer them. She knows them. I'll not try to trick her, but I'll ask her something. I know you ain't going to get this one out of Acts or Kings or whatever. She'll know it. We talked that day about Jesus, and then go for a walk, tomorrow or something. And we did. And we've walked, 5 miles about every day since. And we talk about Jesus when we're walking and who we can bless with something or other, whatever it could be. But I had a little operation, and I was in and out for a couple of days there or something. And it was during COVID, and they wouldn't let her stay. They let her stay during the day, but they wouldn't let her stay at night. And she had a Jeep Cherokee, and this was up north at our place up north. And she slept in her car, Jeep Cherokee, so she could be right there. And but when I'd wake up, anytime I'd wake up during the day, I'd look over, and she was at the right hand. And I don't know how I'll ever repair for that because the hospital scared me to death. Mm-hmm. And she's there, and she reminds me who's taking care of me, mm-hmm. and why he's taking care of me, and how much he loves me. She's an awesome lady.
She is a very awesome lady, yeah. And I think you two make each other better. I think that you probably annoy her enough for 4 people, and she helps make you a better person by helping you grow a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I tease her a lot, and then I get her to do this and that. And she says, Ken, I don't believe you. I said, Liz, with my lips moving, if my lips were moving, I wasn't telling the truth. But
yeah, she also pays me to make up jobs, so that way you'll come over to the church and help, and then she can have a free day.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that she's retired, she has to put up with you all the time. It's not working out so well. So, Ken, if you could give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be?
I swear right now that I would give anything. if I would have got to meet Jesus before I was in my 50s. I mean, he was there. I didn't pay attention. I'm just so happy. 90% of the time, people pull out in front of me, shame on them. So it wasn't going to be long. And now, where are you going? Why you got to be? Let it go, whatever. A lot of that has to do with my wife, too. She reminds me, Kenneth, seriously? But I would ask myself, why didn't you pay attention? And I can give you excuses. I have the choice. But nobody was telling me. My parents owned a tavern. They were working a lot. And again, that's not excuses. I could have went somewhere else. I could have went to church with my sisters. Anything. I was a spoiled brat, and it was all about me. If it wasn't about me, I wasn't doing it. But that's what I wish I would have met him a lot sooner than I did. I've been happy for the last 25, 30 years. I just think, man, I could have been happy for 50, 60 years.
I'm not sure we could have handled that kind of Ken Freshcorn.
I just think about all the people I missed out on helping her. I used to help the elderly ladies on our street mow their grass, but I always got something for it. Now it's, how much owe you? I don't need nothing. Man, I'm rich. They said, what do you mean you're rich? I said, I have Jesus. I had a talk with him the other day, and I asked him, why did you give me so much? I said, I can't handle it all. I can't do all the work. My wife said, be careful what you ask for. And he's an awesome God. I'm sitting across from Katie now and looking in her eyes, and I know she thinks I'm a nut, but I know that she loves me, and I know she tells me, and she takes care of me. And I know if I needed something, she would take care of me.
It has just been a privilege to work with you, to be your friend, to watch you grow. A lot of times I'm privileged to be on the opposite end of the phone call when you will call. And now, because I messed with my phone a little bit, you say, don't you know who I am? You need to answer when I call you, you know. But I always know that when you call me, I'm going to leave better than when I answered that phone. And it might be you're actually questioning something about faith, which is a privilege to walk with you in that way. Or I'm going to get a job, or you're just going to tell me some really nice compliment that I'm probably not going to believe. But I know that no matter when you call me, I'm going to leave better in the conversation than when I started talking to you. And nowadays, that's such a gift. And I'm so grateful for that.
I thank you so much. I can go into some things where you've helped me through. Seriously, I was deep in sorrow, whatever, for a friend that was passing, whatever, and called Katie. And she's, are you driving? I said, yeah. And she says, well, pull over. And I pulled over, and she prayed. And my friend passed that day, but she got me through that. I was good, standing there waiting with his family, and I think we're both growing and learning from each other. I enjoy you very much.
And I am blessed to have you in my life. So I really want to thank you for coming on today.
It was a hoot. It was. We tease each other. Every time we see each other, just about we tease each other or crack on somebody or something. But by the time I leave, we both have said, hey, what about this or what about that guy or what can we do something for this person? Both of us will, whatever.
So we definitely compare notes on what we see or what we think needs to be fixed or helped. Or Yeah, and it's a big community in Adrian, and there's a lot to do. And just those little gestures that we do help people, right?
Seriously, folks, it's scarier now than it used to be years ago. There's a lady that walks to Myers every day. I see her because I go to Lowe's every day for something or other. I don't know what it is. And I've asked her, she's carrying a bag. I'm not sure. I think she works out there or something. I've asked her, raining, if she wants to ride. And she does not trust me or done whatever. She will. Other people said, my wife's asked her, and she won't take a ride from her either. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't hurt to ask, because some people just have been put down so much that they're afraid to ask or whatever. But some people use the system. So what? They're still going to learn from the example. Usually when I help the homeless guys that I do with and that, and I pay them or whatever, I tell them, hey, don't you forget, when you go do this or you go do that or whatever, say hi to an old person. Just say hi. Mm-hmm. How you doing today or something like that. Because people don't say hi, and if you can lift somebody up, it does me. There was a guy that wanted to help me lift stuff out of my basket and put it in my car. I got it. And then for a minute I thought, I think I'm an invalid or what? Then when I thought about it, that was him. He was doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And, man, thanks. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, so it was.
Well, it's been a pleasure to sit here with you today. You've shared a lot with us, a lot of how we can just help people, a lot of how we can be a difference in this world just by little things. So thank you so much for joining us today.
I would like to say one more thing. I would like to say thank you to Maria. She's a picture taker, keeping us online here, whatever. She's an awesome lady. She's got awesome kids, husband, everything. They're all working in a church.
She has been one of the greatest additions to this parish, I think.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful to know her also.
Yes, the three of us make quite a team. I'm not sure the world is ready for that.
Yes. They love us.
Yeah. So we hope that wherever you find an open seat in your life, you will invite someone to join you. And I think that's really how you live your life, Ken.
I'm glad that I do now. It took me a long time, but I'm here. I'm ready. You call Uncle Ken. I'll take care of it. Now, you have to be careful, because I've only done this once, and I don't want to spill it on the table, so we might need some napkins. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Up, side, down. My 6-year-old granddaughter taught me that.